Yeah, man. All good. You can mute yourself and then you're good to go. Good. Stream's ended. There we go. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this fine day here for the Trackstars TS3 Touring Cars Championship for round 8. We're flying through the calendar season so quickly that we're already up to round 8 of 10. This has been an incredible season to bring you live here, live and free on the Trackstars Racing Series YouTube channel. Unfortunately, it's only going to be myself today, whilst we have It's Racing Jarman being the cameraman, so he'll be waving his hand in virtually just to say good day to everybody else. But yes, my co-commentator in Disappointed, Ryan Palmer, is unavailable, as he is actually doing some real life marshalling down at the Supercars series at Eastern Creek in Sydney. So he's out there doing marshalling alongside with Viper Z, who is our TS2 runner. So hopefully maybe we'll be able to get those boys back just in time for TS2, as that final race 22, is about to finish up at around about 5 o'clock's time. But as we get ourselves ready for TS3, qualifying is about to get under the way, and one man that has been leading the way from start to finish alongside with his main protagonist in Zurich, but unfortunately had to pull himself out because he got a better achievement in driver ranking and a faster Porsche lap time. Oh, as we see someone a little bit of lag there. Someone like not exiting the pit lane. That looks to be. Hopefully it's not the series leader in Warpath. Nope. Looks like we're all good now. All right. Well, that is Gordon 69. So he's having a little bit of issues there. So we'll have to hopefully get that rectified very soon. But yes, whilst we get that rectified, we do want to say a big shout out to Zurich, who's been doing some great racing in the TS3 Touring Cars Championship, who's put on a stellar performance, 5 victories in his name against the likes of Warpath 360, but unfortunately he had to pull out. As like I said, with all those achievements accolades he's been able to accomplish. And now it's all up to Warpath to, let's say in a way, not bottle the championship, because he's got himself a very comfortable lead over the guys in second place, where we have Zurich still in second place, but he's actually tied with Isar's Benjo 19 on 723 points. So you could say definitely at the end of this race, it's going to be Benjo in second place, but right behind him, they are very close in the championship. If we see the likes of Soul Reaper, the second entry of the WRT Motorsports 151 in fourth place, he's only a mere 40 points or 38 points behind him. So, an ISO Renegade, who unfortunately had to miss a round at Tokyo, but he managed to resurrect some points from that race. He's about 60 points behind Benjo. So, lots to play out for. Hopefully we get in a way, we get some good racing. But as we've got a red flag out here, we might catch a quick breather. We might be able to recap to see what's been going on here at Trackstars. We've been a lot going on over the past few weeks and months, where we had the likes of the Bathurst 1000 being a big feature of Trackstars Racing Series over the last couple of months, where that was won by CP Motorsports' own Diswood One and Speedy Tires. And now, as a matter of fact, we get the owner of CP Motorsports, Chase Purge, also known on the game CP Flapstick. He's going to be making his Trackstars TS3 debut, so it'll be good to see that he knows his boys have been putting on an excellent performance in any categories they ran. To ran 50 in the TS2 and the Formula 2 Diswood, Speedy Tyres, V Papa AT, all in the touring cars and formulas. So it's now's the big boss's turn to have a crack and see what Trackstars Racing Series is all about. And then, in a way, we have second place was solidified by the likes of It's Racing Esports and Jarman Dalitz and Matt Simmons in the It's Racing Esports camp, who over the last few weeks have been putting on a solid performance. They've been up there with Diswood 1 in the championship in the main series EBM touring cars, where they were actually tied on points, but as part of the top 8, where the top 8 runners in the touring car championship only gets a reset of points, maximum points of 3,500, and then all the points add up for victories and pole positions, and extra points get added on to drivers' names. And It's Racing and Diswood 1 were the top runners when it came to that. Those two have been showing great consistency, great performance in their cars and for their respective teams. And I feel like Diswood 1 has got a bit more of an advantage over It's Racing coming to the British Grand Prix later on this evening, but we'll have to wait and see. But finally, we've got all of our drivers in for TS3. Enough about main series, enough about TS2. We are here live for TS3 coverage. My name's Spud P666, Nicholas Patasso, and I'm here to broadcast you all the live action here at Trackstars, where qualifying is about to get underway. 8 minutes in the beast of the 2008 Nissan GTRs, Lexus SC 430s, and the Honda NSX, but no Honda NSX this time round tonight. We've only, because as we had Isa Matsumaka unfortunately unable to attend this time round, as we still see Gordic 69 still doing 360s in the pit lane, so he'll need to rectify that pretty quickly just to jump towards the back of race 1. But as we get ourselves underway, leading the pack is CP Flapsticks, also known as Chase Persh, the head of CP Motorsports, making his main debut in the Trackstars TS3 series, alongside with Shifty, XX Shifty, who's also making his debut here at Trackstars Racing Series. And he came to the Discord about a couple of weeks ago, and he's looking to make a name for himself. But so far, him and the likes of Dark74, we've seen Dark74 in the Formula 2 category, but Dark74 has been showing some great pace in the F2s and earlier on in the practice sessions as well. He's been setting the benchmark time so far amongst these 15 runners, as CP Flapsticks doesn't want to get a start like that, unfortunately. But one man leading the way now is Vossi. So Isa's Vossi has been putting on an excellent performance since he's made his debut back at Spa at round 3 or round 4, and he's been putting on a strong performances of top pace running, top 5s, top 3s, and even getting himself a victory and pole position last time out at the Tokyo Expressway and the South Outer Loop and at the night time. And Vossi did an exceptional performance to battle the likes of Warpath 360. Could have gone for the clean sweep at Tokyo, but unfortunately half-second penalty cost him his chance to go back-to-back victories at Tokyo. But a bit unfortunate, but a lot to learn for Vossi, and he's going to be a big threat when it comes to next year in the TS3, or even if he makes the move to TS2. Either way, TS3 or TS2, Vossi is going to be the name that is going to be on everyone's lips in 2022, as he's coming through Westfield Bend in turn 6, just all about of a sweeping right-handers, just going all the way up from Hawthorns Bend all the way up to Sheen Curve, which his approach is now. It's all basically a right-hander, so the left side of the car is going to be working pretty hard, and we've seen tyre wear in the formulas where the tyre wear was pretty nasty when it came to the front end of the car. And coming through Clark Curve, Voss is going to set the benchmark time. Don't run too wide. He just clips the gravel there, but will that upset his pace? And Vossi comes through the line. He's going to set himself a 117.4, so not a bad start for Vossi. Shifty's come through with a 116.5, so a nice start for him. Warpath is actually now into second place with the championship leader and the main contender, who has not really many challenges not many challenges for the outright honours of TS3, is up into second place. With we see the runners come through. Dark74 taking a nice advantage of Slipstream, and he goes fastest with a 15.5. And look at that, he's in the Lexus, and as we've seen in TS3, ladies and gentlemen, the Nissan GTR has been the most dominant car taking all the victories here at Trackstars TS3, but Dark 74 in the Lexus, is this potentially the race that we see a Lexus victory? Time will tell very shortly, but Dark 74 and the 174 Privateer leads the way in first, with Shifty in second place and Warpath 360 in third. Whilst we have Vossi in fourth, CP Flapsticks also set a lap time to be fifth place, Soul Reaper in sixth, KPL Baseman in seventh, and EBM QE, who put on a strong performance for QE to get his podium at the TS3 Tokyo round last time out, in eighth place down there. So pretty much a lot of action going through as we see Vossi improve his lap there. What about Warpath? Can he get himself a quicker time? No, he doesn't. So he stays fourth. But Vossi, his time to Dogs, I wonder what the split is between those guys. Might not be too much there. Yeah, there you go, 0.8. So look at that, 0.8 between a Lexus and the Nissan. And everyone was, I guess people were saying that Lexus wasn't a very strong car amongst the fields. And in a way, we could say that the Lexus, so far this evening, is looking to be the car for Brands Hatch here, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll have to wait and see. QE in fifth place has gone up from eighth to fifth in the qualifying, so a nice start for him. About 3 minutes and a quarter to go, where we still have Dargs, Vossi, and Shifty in the top three positions. As he's coming through some lap traffic here, QE is just flashing the lights just to try to get KPL Baseman out of the way. Coming through Hawthorne's Bend here, so pretty much you want to try and see how risky you can take that right-hander, as it leads to a sequence of right-handers all the way up to Sheen Curve there. So you could say in a way Hawthorne Bend is a pretty crucial corner, but this one here, Sheen Curve, is a dangerous spot because it is blind when you're all going uphill and you don't see the corner until the very last minute. So braking references and braking points are very crucial for these drivers tonight, as we see Vossi improve his time. Still not able to topple off Darg 74. So that one lap from Dargs is pretty strong, and no, it doesn't look like he doesn't have many contenders here. But we see QE improve his time. He's still about a second behind Shifty. So we'll have to look out for him as he see if he can get himself into the top four. Dargs is unable to improve his lap time, but showing great consistency, great performance nonetheless. So our drivers, and now we actually see Warpath is actually in third place. So Warpath is only about 0.060 behind Vossi, and Vossi just runs a bit wide there through Hawthorne's. And unfortunately for him, that's going to ruin his lap, but he's got one more opportunity. As I say that, he goes 360 donutting all in Westfield Bend there, but Big Red is coming through in seventh place there. So nice performance for Big Red, the American driver who scored an outstanding podium at the Kyoto race only a couple of months back in celebration or in honors of the fallen victims and 20 years of the 9/11 victims back in 2001. So he's got a memorable podium at Kyoto, and he's looking pretty strong in seventh place there. So executing Hawthorne Bends, he's up on his time there. So if he keeps a clean lap here through all the next three right-handers, and then on the exit of Sterling's, that'll really set him up to possibly be able to move him up into the top five. There's about 0.6 up there on his personal best. Executes Sheen Curve very nicely, and there you go. He's just about 0.3, so he's lost a little bit of time there. Big Red UFA. But if he keeps that up, he might be able to overtake CP Flapstick, and then he might be able to overtake QE97. But we'll wait and see as he crosses the line. Will he get himself up into the top five? Yes, he does. So with a nice solid time there, only just though. So if we're looking through the field there, it is very tight. And as we see now, Warpath is down up into second place there. So he improved his time better to a 16.2, but still nobody's able to topple off Dark 74, who set that 15.5 on his first flying lap there, and no one's been able to have a response there. But for Warpath 360, he's got himself a big up over Vossi, who those two are battling out in the awesome race that was at Tokyo only a couple of weeks ago. But Vossi doesn't look like he's improving, so that's probably his qualifying over. So big ups to the debutant in Dark 74, who's got provisional pole position. Shifty in fourth place, and CP Flapsticks in seventh place there. And as we look through the field, I want us to have a look. So let's see what Shifty's got coming up towards Clark curve for the final time on his last lap. It doesn't look like it's going faster, so he's made a mistake somewhere. So that's his quali over. And we see down there, we see Cowboy looks like he's improved his lap there, but not enough to be in the top 8, unfortunately for him. So the M&R boys, without their leader in SS Boy 82, so they've got their likes of NZL Cowboy and Ben Stick leading the way for the boys in M&R. And then we see the rest of the field crossing the line. That's all. Not many people have been able to improve there. Renegade, a little bit of a lonely 10th place, and Kazi won, unfortunately. A bit of a disappointment for Kazi, as we saw him pretty high up in the early stages of TS3, but unfortunately he missed the last round at Tokyo, and it looks like he hasn't really got much practice in for the TS3 here at Brands Hatch. So he's down in 11th place, so we have to keep an eye on him, as his pace has been pretty strong, but not strong enough to get himself into the top 10 here at Brands Hatch. But that is it. We have our first Lexus pole position going to Darg74. So big congratulations to Dargs and the privateer team in the 174 to take out pole position here at Trackstars TS3. So as we get ourselves ready for race 1 for TS3, we have Darg74 on pole position with Warpath 360, the championship leader, in 2nd place. Vossi in 3rd place, right behind him, with Shifty in 4th, Big Red UFA in 5th, and QE in 6th. So we have to look towards the start line. Who's going to get the jump as we get towards those red lights and green flag racing? We are off. Green flag, and we've got ourselves an even start amongst the front field, but it looks like Dargs has got the second phase of that start phase in 1st place, with Warpath in 2nd. Vossi runs wide into 3rd place, and he gets swamped by Shifty, and it looks like CP Flapstick is going to make the move on Vossi. Yes, he does. So Vossi goes from 3rd to 5th there, so an unfortunate start for Vossi there, but still leading the way is Darg74, and Warpath is on a mission to try and overtake Dargs, thinking you're the newcomer to TS3, but I'm going to show you what TS3 racing is all about, and I'm the main man with the victories here. And as we see, Soul Reaper go for a bit of a half spin there. So what's happened to him? As we see multiple cars go into Druids there, and that is, you can't fit 3 cars through there. And oh, it looks like he got tagged there by Kazi there. So we're not too sure about that. So a little bit of an incident between Soul Reaper and Kazi won there. So very unfortunate for Soul Reaper. And he drops all the way down to 14th place as we get another view from Soul Reaper's camera view. And let's see, did he get any contact from, oh, yes, he does. So Kazi did make contact with Soul Reaper there. So very unfortunate for Soul Reaper there. And one to keep an eye on, unfortunately, as we see some yellow flags there. And we see Warpath 360 drop all the way down to 8th place there. So he was high up at 2nd. Did he go off? It looks like he has. We have unfortunately unable, my apologies there, with the muttering of words there, as we see more cars going off here, and Brands Hatch is very notorious for cars going off circuit. And as we see another one, and that is Dargs, Jarman. That is Dargs that has actually gone off into turn 1 there, and he has lost the lead, and chaos here, and he's just run too much, and he just clips the grass there. The unbelievable scenes we are seeing, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody wants to race here. Nobody wants to race here at Brands Hatch, and we're seeing guys like Warpath and Dargs and many others getting in all sorts of chaos there. It is unbelievable that no one's been able to keep it on the track cleanly, but one guy that has kept it clean has been Shifty in 1st place. So the number, I believe the number is 43 for him. Yep, so it's the number 43 for Shifty, representing the number of the MotoGP rider in Jack Miller. So he's got the same number board and the same numbers and the same Aussie flag behind it. So with Shifty in 1st and Vossi in 2nd, QE in 3rd, Renegade has come from 10th place up into 4th, so he's kept his nose clean up into 4th place. CP Flapsticks in 5th, Warpath is coming up the field in 6th place, with Kazi in 7th and NZL Cowboy in the 1st of the M&R boys in 8th place there. So chaotic start here, ladies and gentlemen, for the first race at Trackstars TS3 at Brands Hatch. It has been a very chaotic start here. We've seen that in the formulas, we've seen that in the Porsches, and now we're seeing that in the Trackstars TS3. And one guy that's leading the way, it is Shifty, kept his nose clean, and Warpath has dropped all the way down to the 6th place. But you have to feel for Darg74, they're dropping outside of the top 10 with just a small clipping off the inside into turn 1 into the Paddock Hill bend. And as we see, CP Flapsticks get too eager on the throttle there, and he drifts really wide and comes into the path of Cowboy there and almost took him out there. But Cowboy thankfully stays on track in 7th place, and CP Flapsticks is all the way down into 8th place. So chaotic start, so still a chaotic start here, and we're not even at 10 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen. We've got ourselves a lot of racing on our hands here, and we hopefully get to see the likes of Warpath try to make his way through the field and hopefully get himself back onto the podium positions at the conclusion of race 1. But he's got Renegade ahead of him, the first of the ISAR boys, actually the second of the ISAR boys, with Vossi in 2nd place there. So Renegade, the leader, one of the co-leaders of ISAR Intercontinental Esports Racing, in 4th place, with Warpath for the WRT Motorsport in 5th place. And Warpath tries to make a move to go around the outside. No, it doesn't work. There's a little bit risky and sketchy to go around the outside of Paddock Hill Bend. Sometimes you can get it done, but you need to have full faith with the car on the inside to give you that space. And then coming out of Druids, looks like Warpath's got a better exit speed, and he does. And he makes a move into Graham Hill Bend, and then moves himself up into 4th place there. But it looks like Renegade has got the switchback on Warpath, and he's going to go on the inside. Can Warpath hold around the outside? Looks like they're going to give each other some room. Yes, they do, but Warpath comes out on top in 4th place there. So nice racing between Warpath and Renegade there for 4th place. And Kazi's not far behind in 6th place, but still leading the way, and not many challenges for Shifty on his debut, ladies and gentlemen, in the 43, leading the way ahead of Vossi and EBM QE. And look at that, the gap between QE and Warpath was about 7.3 there, so Warpath's got a lot to find in his 360 Nissan GTR. Then we have ISAR Renegade in 5th, Kazi in 6th, Cowboy in 7th, and Benjo up into 8th place. So it looks like Flapsticks is not having the great first race for him in his main debut here at Trackstars TS3, but hopefully he might be able to keep himself up into the top 10. And as we see here, we see the likes of Benjo, Dargs, and we see KPL Baseman all going side by side, almost going 3 wide into Paddock Hill Bend. That is unheard of for the touring cars. And we see Dargs come out on top. He's now into 8th place, but look at that. His gap between him and NZL Cowboy is about 6.3 there. So a very costly mistake for Dargs, who took pole position for the race, and has dropped himself all the way down into 8th place, or as low as 13th at the commence of the 2nd lap there. So very unfortunate for Dargs. One to learn for him. Obviously in your first race, a lot to learn in your first race, but hopefully for Dargs, he could probably learn that putting too much of the car on the inside into turn 1 is probably not the best racing line, obviously because of the dirt and the dirt getting on the tires and all of that when it comes to traction into Paddock Hill Bend, as it is that is as well a very tricky corner to negotiate properly. As we see Benjo make a mistake there, and we see CP has actually dropped down to 14th place there. So he's had a nightmare of a race 1 for CP Flapsticks. So probably not the best track to make your debut, but for CP Flapsticks, but for Shifty, it's all going smooth sailing for him. For Shifty in 1st place, but he's got Vossi right behind him. Vossi's been able to close that gap up to 3/10 there. So this is the battle pack for the lead here, ladies and gentlemen, for the first race here at Trackstars TS3. We have Shifty in 1st place, with Vossi in 2nd, QE in 3rd, Warpath in 4th. But look at that, Vossi is looking to make a move on the inside, try to go around the outside of Shifty, and Shifty puts the car nicely in the middle of the track going through Hawthorne, and it does a really stellar job to keep that 1st place. But he's under pressure from Vossi, who's been racing in the TS3 for quite some time here. And we see obviously the likes of Vossi coming through in 2nd place there, and QE in 3rd, but so far Shifty is leading the way in 1st. So we're about to commence lap 7 of 13 here of the Trackstars TS3 at Brands Hatch for the London Sprint. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Shifty in 1st place in the 43, with Vossi right on his tail. In 2nd place, with EBM QE in 3rd, Warpath in 4th, Renegade in 5th, holding off Kazi in 6th, and Dark 74 back up into 7th place now. So he's got a lot to do for race 2. As we see Vossi go a little bit too wide there, coming out of Graham Hill Bend there, and just caught on the exit strip there. and that has lost him a lot of minutes, a lot of seconds there. He's lost about at least 2 seconds over Shifty there, and he hasn't copped damage there. So thankfully for these drivers, not even light damage for these guys here. So they got a bit of a straight run there. But look at that, he's dropped down 3 seconds. So very unlucky there for Vossi, and that's a bit of a relief there for Shifty in first place. But Q's right behind him with about 1.2 seconds behind Vossi. But Warpath has closed that gap massively. He's on the charge. He's coming through with up into fourth place as we see Big Red right on the tails of KPL Baseman in 8th place there. So the Kiwi pit lane of Baseman in 8th and Big Red UFA in 9th place for the ISAR racing team. The only American, or the sole international here at Trackstars TS3 with Big Red UFA in 3rd place. In 9th place. My apologies there. And as we see down there, we've got Benstick, Benjo, and Flapsticks all getting together on about 11th place there. So a lot of battle packs here, as the track usually holds. There's a lot of racing going on, and a lot of action going on here at Brands Hatch, where they've actually been able to hold multiple series of races here, multiple categories. We've seen the DTM boys come here all the way up through to the end of 2019, where back in the early days in the 2000s, before we hit the teens, they were actually running the Indy circuit. So we saw the likes of Paul DeResta and a few of the Mark Ekstrom as well run through the Indy circuit, and also running the full circuit there. And as these boys go side by side, can Chase make it 3 wide? He's about to almost make it 3 wide, and he makes it almost two positions almost 2 positions for the price of 1 there. But incredible racing here for the boys here for the M&R, CP Motorsports, and ISR boys here at TS3, back all fighting for 11th place. Can Flapsticks go around the outside? Is he going to make that move stick? He does, and Benstick just course a little bit there and just gets a little bit throttle happy there on the exit of Hawthorne, and very unlucky for very unlucky for Benstick to go from 11th to 13th. So a lot of good stuff for Flapsticks to get 2 positions for the price of 1, but not so much for Benstick in 13th place there. So yeah, so going back, so we've seen a lot of racing for these guys in the real world. So we see the likes of the DTM, we see the British Touring Car Championships as well. We see also the A1 GP has come around this track as well. And then we have the likes of the British Formula 3, the W Series actually came through here as well back in 2019. The GT3, the British Superbikes, the World Superbike Championship, and the World Touring Car Championship, and lots of racing going on here. I think it's just a very common track for all those kind of categories of cars to be racing here at Brands Hatch. And luckily, it's not, I guess in a way, it's not many of the drivers' favourites track here at Trackstars. I mean, it does provide its challenges, and it does provide patience for drivers that want to push the cars to the limit here, as we see Vossi trying to push the limit here of his Nissan GTR, and that cost him dearly, and he's about to lose 2nd place to EBM QE. So for Elite Braking Mechanicals, QE97 here, putting on a solid performance in 2nd place there, kept his nose clean, and he's pushing that Lexus SC430 up into 2nd place there. And that grumbling of the V8 of the Lexus sounds so good in the game here. And for QE to get 2nd place there is an awesome achievement for QE, and only his 3rd race here at Trackstars TS3. As we see in the background there, Warpath 360 is right in sight there. So with 3.5 laps to go, what can Warpath do? Can he challenge for 2nd place? Can he get to the back of these guys before the end of the race? Because I don't think these boys are going to catch Shifty, who is leading the way in the first race of the London Sprint for TS3. But we have a big battle pack here, as we see yellow flags here. I wonder who that could be. Don't tell me that is Shifty that's gone wide. No, it's not. So there's a guy in 14th place there, as we see Warpath have a bit of a spin there at Sheen Curve there. So unlucky for him, and it is Soul Reaper actually. So Soul Reaper actually was the guy that ran a bit wide there. So very unfortunate for Warpath as he went for a spin through Sheen Curve there. And that brings Renegade back into the mix to try and get 4th place there. As we see that replay of Warpath going full 360. A good save though, but unfortunately couldn't get the car back onto the track before it had another moment there little half spin moment there for Warpath 360 on the exit of onto the entry of Sterling. But very unlucky for Warpath, as he was actually making good grounds on Vossi and Kiwi there. But like I said, it does provide its challenges here at Brands Hatch, and obviously as you see through some drivers, as we see Kazi as well go for a bit of a half spin there, and look at that. I mean, anything can happen here, ladies and gentlemen, here at TS3. I mean, could this provide us some action for later on this evening with the Trackstars TS2 boys, and even for the main series for the Elite Break and Mechanical Touring cars? Only time will tell here, as we see Kazi just run a bit wide, and he just clips the curbing, just clips the gravel down a Paddock Hill bend, and very unlucky just to clip the gravel, and that will just send the car 360 into the wall there. And he only drops down to 9th place, so it's not bad. Not bad for him. He could have been a lot worse, but anything can happen around this track. And as we've seen plenty of times, we've seen Vossi go off, we've seen Warpath go off, we've seen Darks go off, so anything can happen over the next couple of laps here. But it's a big battle pack. It is on for young and old here for Vossi and EBMQ for 2nd and 3rd place. EBMQ for the Elite Brake Mechanical Lexus 97 in 2nd place for Vossi, and Vossi in the number 40 Ice R Racing Nissan GTR in 3rd place here. Can he go around the outside of Druids? No, he doesn't. So he's going to stick back behind Kiwi. He's going to hope to have Kiwi make a mistake ahead of him, and then he'll come through to take 2nd place there. But a good battle brewing on between these two boys here. As we see down the back, we don't really see much going on. Actually, we do. We see Renegade make the move on Warpath 360. So this is coming to be a really solid race there for Renegade 575. He's doing a solid job in his Lexus, in his inspired BJR. No, not BJR. Dick Johnson Racing Team Penske colours. As we see Darks go off as well for the 2nd time there. So, wow. I mean, if we had myself and TJ here, we'd be going off with all the drivers making mistakes everywhere, left, right, front, and centre. I don't think I've seen one piece of track where no one's actually gone off. I feel like everyone's gone off on at least every single corner of this track there. It could have been at least one driver. As we see Vossi going for a switchback move. He makes the switchback moves of dreams here on EBMQ onto the final lap here, and Vossi is about to get into 2nd place here. But we see EBMQ go around the inside. No, he doesn't. So he has to concede 2nd place here, but it's not over yet. Can EBMQ get later on the brakes on Vossi? No, he doesn't. As we come through here, Vossi and EBMQ going hammer and tong here for 2nd place on the final lap here at Trackstars TS3. As we see Vossi, EBMQ, Renegade, and Warpath, the top 5, led by Shifty in 1st place. But a big battle brewing up here between Vossi and Kiwi on the final lap here. Who can take 2nd place over these two? Time will tell very shortly as he's coming through Hawthorne's Bend for the final time here. Still Vossi in 2nd place. Kiwi's right behind him. He's going to line him up for the last few corners, but nobody can touch this man, XX Shifty, on his debut in the number 43, coming through to the exit of Sterling's and coming through Clark Curve for the final time here for the first race at Trackstars CS3 for the London Sprint. Goes to Shifty, the privateer driver in 1st place, taking line honours and the victory here at Trackstars TS3. So big congratulations. And Vossi comes out of all this in 2nd place there. So an awesome battle between Vossi and Kiwi to take out 2nd and 3rd place. So awesome performance by those boys in 2nd and 3rd. Renegades are able to hold on to 4th. Just can Warpath get the slipstream? Can he get a run on Renegade? No, he doesn't. So Renegade gets 4th place here. Flash of the lights there. He's happy with that. And Warpath 360 rounds up the top 5 with Big Red UFA in 6th place. And Dark 74, after taking pole position, drops down to 7th place there. So a bit of an unfortunate mistake there. He'd be kicking himself after that mistake on lap 2 there, and ending up in 7th place there. And then we see KPL Basement in 8th. SLM Kazi for the Red Mist Racing in 9th place, and CP Flapsticks after, I think you could say, pretty much just going, at least I saw him go off in at least 4 out of 5 corners there for CP Flapsticks there. So let's have a look what's happened. How did he get 10th place here? Did Benjo run a bit wide? Oh, he went in too deep into Sterling's there. So, and he caught himself a half spin there. So unlucky for Benjo to lose position there in 10th, to take 10th place there. And he runs up in 11th with Ben Stick in 12th, NZL Cowboy in 13th, and Soul Reaper, the last of the runners, in 14th place. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. we have our victor, and our first race is complete at the Trackstars TS3 Touring Cars Round 8, and it goes to Shifty in the number 43, taking his debut victory and is in his debut race here at Trackstars, and an awesome performance there for Shifty in the number 43. So big congratulations to him in first place, with the likes of with the likes of Vossi in second and EBM QE in third place there. So as we look through to the results page, we will run through the grid. We will run through the grid order of how they finished. We have the likes of EBM QE in fifth place and third place. So that was a good solid performance there for QE. Almost held second place there, but just ran a little bit too. Just made a mistake coming into Clark Curve on the final couple of laps there. So unfortunately for him, not to get second, but he takes third, and a good performance for him in the number 97 Elite Breaker Mechanical Lexus SC 430 in third place, with Renegade in fourth. He'd be very happy with that. I would say Renegade would be very happy with that fourth place, with Warpath 360 in fifth. Then Big Red in sixth, Dargs in seventh after taking pole position. So he'll be one to keep an eye on later in the race with Darg 74. Hopefully we get to see him move up towards the front of the grid in seventh place there, with KPL Basement in eighth, Cars in ninth, Flapsticks rounding up the top 10 on his debut in Trackstars TS3 in 10th place, with Benjo 19 and 11th, and Ben Stick 12th, Cowboy in 13th, and Soul Reaper having that big off at Sheen Curve and going a lap down in 14th place. So as we take a break here for the Trackstars TS3 Touring Car Series, we would like to welcome ourselves a guest here and the Trackstars TS3 Touring Cars Championship. We would like to bring in the championship leader of TS3. It is none other than Warpath 360. Welcome, Warpath 360. Also Reaper having that big off at Sheen Curve and going a lap down in 14th place. Maybe not. Maybe we haven't been able to get Warpath. Warpath, can you hear us? So as we take a break here for the Trackstars TS3 Touring Car Series, we would like to welcome ourselves a guest. That's all right. So we'll have to get him into the com box very shortly. Hopefully, be able to get him in. The championship leader.
Yeah, sorry guys, I'm here.
It is none other than Warpath 360. Welcome, Warpath 360. Also Reaper having that big off at Sheen Curve and going a lap down. All right. So I think you might have to mute your background there, Warpath, so we can get together and have a bit of a chat.
Yep, no, that's all good, all done.
All right.
It wasn't that an exciting race.
So, yes, so ladies and gentlemen, we do have Warpath 360 joining us. So, how was that race for you? Mate? You started up in second place there, almost got the jump there on Dark 74 there, but then just a costly mistake on that first lap just dropped you all the way down towards ninth place. But you did a nice recovery drive into fourth before you had another spin there. So I guess in a way, Brands Hatch lives up to his name. It's all about patience, and when you're not patient, it gives you you suffer the consequence, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's true. I just let it up a couple of times when I shouldn't have. But yeah, I was quite enjoying the fact that I was chasing Evie down, but then you just over car and around she goes. And I noticed that when I was racing that there were quite a few that had gone around and all the rest of it. I'm thinking, if this keeps going, I might actually get up to first, but it never happened like that.
No, but your progress was very strong in that one, and you're pretty much behind QE with about like 2 seconds before you made a move, before you made that mistake there at Sheen Curve at turn 7 there. So just tell us how these cars are around the track when it comes to driving around. Are they actually a bit more of a handful than what we see on the stream, or is it actually a bit easier to drive? Because we did see, I was watching It's Racing do his laps there, and he was struggling with the Nissan GTR there. So what's it like for you guys behind the wheel?
It's a bit of a nightmare with this track because of some of the off-corner cambers and that. You've got to be very patient, pushing the first in there when you're coming down. I just found this entire track from the beginning I started practicing it right up until today very slippery, and which is not something I'd normally say. It's quite a stable vehicle, but yeah, this track, don't know what it is.
Yeah, exactly. That's all right. So That's all right,
But
but yeah, like we said, you've been putting on a solid performance here. You've been the benchmark driver here at Trackstars TS3 with the likes of yourself and Sirik leading up, being the front runners of the TS3. You both separating with victories, and one round Sirik goes really well, and then the second round you make that big step forwards, and then it's been a back and forth between you two guys. So how has that rivalry been between you guys in the early stages within those first 5 to 6 rounds?
it was great. Sarek and I had spoken to each other after the races and stuff like that, just over Discord, and we said how much we enjoyed, the individual racing and the racing against each other because he was very stable in a lot of ways. He sort of broke where I thought he was going to break, given his speed. And I knew that, to be quite honest, he was slightly faster than me at some tracks. And there were times when I was getting some of his times, like being taken little chunks out here and there. So it was very respectful racing, and I really enjoyed it. So
Exactly right. Just one question: Are you going to be racing the second race, or are you going to stay here and join us in the combox?
well, look, given the last race, I think I'll stay here. It's a lot more safer, I think, than being out on that
There you
track.
go. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. So looks like
I'll
Warpath is
use
going
this as a drop round.
to. Exactly right. Why not take advantage of a drop round while you can? But yes, we are here live for the Trackstars TS3 Touring Car Series for round 8 for the London Sprint. Here it is, race 2 coming up very shortly here as we get ourselves underway for race 2 for the Brands Hatch Grand Prix, where we have Shifty making his taking his debut victory here for race 1, is now on pole position for race 2, with Vossi in second place, EBM queuing in third, and Renegade in fourth place. Big Red UFA moves up into fifth place after Warpath concedes that position away. But as we wait for those lights to go green, tell me what it feels like to be at the start of the race. Warpath usually at the front row. You're not really much in the mid pack. What's it like as we get ourselves underway for green flag racing? As we see Dargs coming through the field very nicely, but Shifty's got the excellent start over Vossi there, and then we have EBM QE. Dargs has gone up into fourth place there at the beginning of the race there, so a nice solid start for him. Trying to make a move on QE there, coming into Druid's dead. Unfortunately, unlucky for him, but he stays in fourth place. But yeah, just tell us what it's like tell us what it's like at the start of the race when you're up in the front few positions. What's it like what's it like for you to be getting that clear track and trying to get that lead into turn 1?
Yeah, well, there's a lot going on in your mind, and you sort of heart starts racing a little bit because you think to yourself, well, how are we going to go here and start? But it's just about taking a deep breath and saying, here we go, and ensuring that you try and get off the line pretty well, and also making sure that you're giving each other room at the very beginning, which doesn't always happen, but it's nice when it does. So, obviously, if you're racing people, you don't want others to just take you out, but that's just racing online or real life. It always happens. So.
Exactly right. And as we see your teammate in Gordox 69 not get off the line there, unfortunately. So he's a bit of very unfortunate for him. Looks like he's going to be using this round as a drop round, unfortunately. But we've seen the likes of your teammates in Gordox 69, Soul Reaper, and then we even saw the debut. As we see, actually, before we cut to that, we see a contact made between Big Red UFA and Dark 74 there coming into Paddock Hill Bend, just almost taking each other out coming into turn 1 there. Oh, and that is so unfortunate. As we see back there, someone's had a bit of a spin back there. I believe that was, I'm not too sure actually who that was. I see an M&R car go wide there. That was yeah, Big Red UFA made a bit of a mistake there coming into Druid's Bend. Unfortunately, he looks like, didn't look like, not so sure if he got tagged there, but it looks like he either made a mistake or he got tagged, but I'm not too sure. But obviously you've done one race here so far this evening. It's obvious, like I said, it's a very gruesome track, and it just requires so much patience. I mean, it's not a track really known for overtaking, but I guess when an opening comes available, you have to take it, I guess.
Oh, definitely. If you can see a weakness in a driver, whether they're going in too deep, or not going in deep enough, you just got to try to exploit as much as. Whoa, that was Benstick. I'm flying off the track there.
we see Renegade just running a little bit wide there, coming through Sterling. So unfortunately drops him down to 7th place. Almost goes into the pits. Almost goes into the pits on that one. That was a bit of a strange one for Renegade there, but holds on to 7th place there nonetheless. But obviously you look at the guys when it comes to trying to make a pass and trying to make a passing opportunity around this track. It's like the only places you can do it is if you have a good run on towards Paddock Hill Bend and then down to Druids, but everywhere else is more or less just a single file, kind of like you could say like a Bathurst or a Laguna Seca.
Very much so, yes.
And then we see your teammate
it can be very difficult to try and get around some of the drivers.
Yeah, exactly. And then we see your teammate Soul Reaper just gets a little bit too throttle happy there, coming onto the exit of Druids Bend. And he drops himself all the way down to 12th place. So we saw Soul Reaper didn't have the best of races in the first race, actually went a lap down in that one at the conclusion of race 1, and then now down in 12th place in race 2 there. But this nice big battle pack, this little battle for first place for Shifty and Vossi. Now I've actually got you here. Talk to me about the last race. You thought the previous race before, I think it was down at round 6. I think that was at Bathurst. You had a nice, comfortable race there, and not many people were challenging you, and you thought it would have been an easy cruise to the victory. But then you had Vossi in the number 40 ISR Nissan come charging towards you at Tokyo Expressway. Did that surprise you in a way, that how Vossi managed to progress his way up through the field pretty quickly?
Well, no, because when you look at the racing, Vossi's always been there. Even when Ceric was here and we'd started, Vossi was always third or, very close to that position. I've always had high respect for Vossi regards to that. And it didn't surprise me that, he took out the first one in Tokyo. The fact that he was, second behind me at Mount Panorama, because he's got the speed. The unfortunate thing for Vossi is
he's just sorry to cut you off there. He's just run a bit wide there, coming through Sheen Curve there. Just took a bit too much throttle there, and he loses a chunk of time there. He loses about 3 seconds behind Shifty there. So very unlucky for Vossi. He was right on the tail, about 3/10, and he's lost time. So again, he's really pushing that Nissan GTR when it doesn't really need to be pushed there. He was right on the back of him, and unfortunately for him, that cost him plenty of time there. And then we see the likes of Dark 74 in third, and CP Flapsticks is having a better race race 2 compared to race 1 there. So hopefully his boys at CP Motorsports are cheering him along for the team boss at CP Motorsports and CP Flapsticks. But yeah, like you're saying, with Vossi, his progression through the field since Spa, it's been pretty much from the get-go. Like, he put himself in a great position at Spa, and then from there he's just been trying to build a platform of where he stands amongst the ranks against the TS3 drivers.
Yeah, well, as I said, I rate him very highly as a driver when we're racing each other. So it's not unexpected that he would have been, having the results that he's been having. And even if you look at the last race, I was struggling to catch him in the first race. And I was just lucky that he got that penalty in the second race at Tokyo. So
yeah, exactly.
But, and big shout out to all these new guys as well that have, like Dargs and CP Flatstick and Shifty. I think today's their first race, because Dargs didn't race in the last one. So
yeah,
he was a tremendous job.
He was a little bit unfortunate not to race that first one. Obviously, apparently he had a bit of some family commitments there. Unfortunately, we could have seen a pretty good race there for Dark 74, as he did say to me he had the pace at Tokyo to be challenging the likes of yourself and Vossi to the practice sessions, but we'll never know that, unfortunately. But yeah, obviously we've had TS3 has come through the ranks pretty nicely there. Now we've had a total of 21 runners doing at least one race here, ladies and gentlemen, for TS3. So a series that's pretty new to Trackstars Racing Series. Only because some drivers weren't able to make the 5:30 pre-qualifying races in the Trackstars TS2, and I guess in a way to get more drivers involved in racing, we just thought, well, but there are the old cars, there are the old GT 500s and the Nissan, Lexus, and Honda, and we were on the more recent 2016 model. So I thought, well, why not? Why don't we give it a crack? Why don't we try and make a category in TS3, make it run a little bit earlier? And I must say, like, between yourself, Sirik, and the likes of Vossi and a few others, the TS3 has kicked off with a bang. Don't you agree?
Oh, definitely. A lot of fun to drive these cars. They really are. And, as you said, they're stock standard, apart from our own, lines of performance that has been worked out for these vehicles. So it's down to the driver and trying to maximise as much as you can get out of that vehicle. And some people have taken to it like a duck to water, and others, there's still time. We've got a few more races left, a couple more, I should say. But, it's all about getting settled into that car. And,
exactly right. And,
you don't have to.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, we're not worrying about trying to tune them or anything like that. It's just, it's a lot of fun.
Exactly right. And so let's look through the grid. We actually see Vossi now take the lead. So I do apologise there. So whilst we were having a chat there, we see Vossi now take the lead of Shifty, and Shifty's gone back down through the field there, and he's down into second place there. Good timing there, Jarman, and he's actually made a mistake there down on Dingledale at the exit of turn 6 there. So very unlucky for Shifty. He held himself a 3-second lead over Vossi, and now he drops down to second. And now Vossi in the number 40 takes the lead for race 2 for the London Sprint here at Brands Hatch there. So Vossi in the number 40 takes the lead ahead of Shifty in second place, Dark 74 in third place, with EBM QE in fourth, CP Flapsticks in fifth, KPL Baseman in sixth, Kazi in seventh, and Big Red in eighth place. So big change in events here, and now what was a 3-second lead between Shifty and Vossi is now almost a 3-second lead between Vossi and Shifty here. So going through Vossi's head, he's just going to try to keep a cool head like he did at Tokyo, and just try to maintain a gap between him and Shifty, because this track is very gruesome when it comes to track limits here and the consequences there. And as we saw with Shifty, didn't make a mistake in the first race, but unfortunately for him, makes a big mistake in that second race and gives away the lead to Vossi in first.
It's a bit upsetting. He's doing a good job there too. So.
And as we see, Flapsticks down in fifth place there. So he's been able to just get accustomed to the car, and he's looking to be a solid runner there in fifth place. So big ups to CP Flapsticks. Hopefully one of the boys from CP Motorsports is watching and cheering Flapstick on. That'll be pretty awesome to see. It's probably a bit of team support there for your team boss. It's kind of like you could say, the Roland Dane of Triple Eight, just driving his production car back at Townsville and just like bossing the field and just like smashing the field out pretty easy. And then anyway, just a bit of fun, bit of racing banter for CP Flapsticks, but I don't think it's much of a banter race for Flapsticks, because he's getting close to the tail end of EBM QE there in fourth place, and he might be able to get himself a top 4 in his second race. So that'll be an outstanding performance for CP Motorsports in the 47 there. As we look through the chat here, we see the likes of Karam Bilal supporting Shifty who was supporting Shifty in the first race. So he was pretty happy to see Shifty win that first race. We also have Sirik in the chat as well, so supporting probably yourself as well and a few of the other boys. And obviously, in a way, we all miss Sirik. I guess in a way, you kind of miss contact between Kazi and Big Red there. So big contact between those two boys. As we see a replay of that, if we might be able to see if we can get an onboard of that between Big Red as he looks to make the move on the inside, but Kazi holds that inside line, tries to go for a fake dummy, but does that come through? Oh no, so he actually got too much speed there. So too much speed there for Big Red, just didn't really read Kazi's entry speed into Hawthorn there. So unfortunately for him, it drops down. As we see CP Flapstick drop down as well. So he's coming through to Sterling. So that is the worst corner to be making a mistake there for CP Flapsticks. Down on the exit of Sterling's. This track is so narrow, so tight, fine margins, ladies and gentlemen, to getting the car right, trying to keep it on the tarmac and try to get yourself the best result as you can. And as we saw the likes of Dogs take too much inside curve, too much of the inside into Paddock Hill Bend, and then we see Shifty run wide at Dingledale. Then we see Vossi as well make some mistakes as well. Everyone's making mistakes here this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's incredible.
Yes, it's a pretty mistake prone track, unfortunately, because as you mentioned, it is tight, and some of the ripples you can actually run over, and some of them are lethal.
Exactly.
They will spit
So,
you out.
let's have a little talk about yourself and the team. WRT Motorsport stands for War Paint Racing Team. Obviously, you guys are brand new to the Trackstars series, and you've got yourselves a pretty good lineup for the season 2021, where you have yourself, yourself, Warpath 360, Soul Reaper, then you had Oz Tormentor, and then you have Gordok 69, who unfortunately couldn't make the start of the Brands Hatch in a way. But I guess in a way, it's a bit of a relief for him. He doesn't have to race around this track, so happy days for Gordok there. But then you even have the guy like Nightwalker 964 and TS2 there. How's the team's morale in 2021? How's the team been? How's the team in your eyes been? How's the team in your eyes been going so far in Trackstars?
Well, I'd like to think pretty well. You know, we're putting our name out there and doing stuff. With the TS3, we've had the like Oz Soul Reaper, and we've had Oz Tormentor and Gordok, which, as has been previously mentioned, they are part of the family. So if there's any squabbling, they take care of it, not me, which is great. But it's all just trying to get proper tracks and all the rest of them. When we can practice, it's great, but we can't always practice. As for Nightwalker, I think he feels a bit lonely up there in TS2 because he's the only one running around. And but you try to support it by running around and doing a few laps here and there, or he'll jump into the Epson Honda and he'll race around satellites of this track, which he did this week when we were doing some practice for the TS3. So I think the morale's pretty good. We have our moments, like any team.
Yep.
But I would have thought that, especially the likes of Oz Reaper, he's now learning, he's gone from controller to steering wheel.
Oh, okay, yep.
So that's why.
So I guess that's why he's a little bit further down the field, yeah, because he was pretty high up there in the early stages of the TS3 Championship. I think he got his best performance on a podium in the earlier rounds at Trackstars TS3. So obviously, you did say that he was on the goes from controller to wheel. It does take a bit of a while to learn, as we've seen the likes of Lyrox 22 go from controller to wheel, and then we've seen a few other drivers shift from wheel to controller. So it's a bit of that adapting stage, and I guess in a way, with these cars with not too much power, and it's, you could say in a way, easier to drive compared to the 2016 model cars. So I guess for Soul Reaper, it's a good learning curve for next year for sure.
Well, that's right, and he's also gone from automatic to manual as well. This is his first race of manual, so he's trying to get on top of that and learn all aspects of the wheel. So I think he's
exactly right.
What he's trying to achieve, and it's only the first year. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, absolutely. Sorry. Well, it is. Yeah, you've only been here for not even, I wouldn't even say half of 2021, and you guys have put on a stellar performance, and you've shone through the rest of the field there throughout the whole pack in TS3 or TS2, and even in some of the lobbies that we've done. We've always seen a WRT boy usually up towards the front, and we've seen great progression from you guys. So hopefully you guys can keep that up. But as we go through Sheen Curve for the final time, nobody can touch this man. Nobody can touch Vossi, the number 40 here. Dropped down to second place in that first race, but unfortunately for him, unfortunately for Shifty, dropped himself all the way down to second after making a big mistake at Dingledale. But for the final time, around the final corner at Clark Curve, the victory goes to Vossi in the car 40, and for the ISR Camp takes victory here at Trackstars TS3 for race 2 for the London Sprint here at Brands Hatch. And then we also see Dark 74 in second. So Shifty has gone and made a mistake there somewhere on the final lap here, ladies and gentlemen. So Shifty goes from second to fourth on the final lap here. So what has happened to Shifty? He's gone from second to fourth, and that is not what he wanted, ladies and gentlemen. As we see Shifty up in second place there. Did he run wide? He actually did. So he runs wide through Sterling's again. So another victim on the exit of Sterling's Bend, and he just can't get that car straight. And what was looking to be a solid race, a solid weekend for Shifty, has turned into a nightmare for Shifty. I guess in a way, taking victory in your first debut race is a great achievement, but unfortunately for him, to drop down to fourth place, that'll cost him huge there, unfortunately, as we see. So it looks like But I think from the looks of it, we might be able. I think it's going to be a Vossi round victory, overall round victory here at Trackstars TS3 at Brands Hatch with Dargs in second place. A nice recovery drive for Dargs in second, and EBM QE in third place. So good consistent race for QE. 2 third placings for him, so he might be able to secure third place overall. But we'll have to wait and see on the count back here. But great racing from all the drivers here. Very tricky conditions here, but all of our drivers withstood the pressure of that is Brands Hatch racing circuit. And as we see Benja cross the line in 11th place there. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. We have our victor in Vossi. So 2 races, 2 different winners. And we've got Vossi in the number 40 ISAR racing team in first place, taking the victory and the fastest lap there. As I was watching through his laps were pretty strong there. His pace was pretty strong and pretty fast amongst the rest of the field there over the likes of Shifty and even the likes of EBM, QE, and Dark 74. I think he was the fastest. Yes, he was. He actually got a 16 flat there on his lap time there. So pretty strong, pretty awesome there for Vossi to take out the victory and the fastest lap here at race 2 with Dark 74. Like I said, a solid recovery drive in second place with EBM, QE in third place, and Shifty so unlucky to drop from second to fourth on the last lap here. So unlucky for Shifty on what was looking to be a solid debut outing for the number 43 in fourth place there, unfortunately, with Big Red securing a top 5. So we see the 3 Lexus cars in the top 5 there, so pretty strong there. And I'm just wondering now we've actually got you here, Warpath. We've got you and your team, like you've said, you've got a good mixture of Nissans and you've got yourself a good mixture of Lexus SC 430s. What has the balance been like between the cars? Like how do you see the balance between those 2 manufacturers? And then even you've got a Honda NSX Epson in the mix as well.
I think the Nissans are just slightly got it over the Lexuses, to be quite honest. But then again, it comes down to people's driving styles. So, but I do feel that the Nissan has got it a bit quicker. When you look at when Nightwalker, obviously he's in TS2, but when he's driving around in the Epson, he takes it up to Nissan. So, but in saying that, there's only been a bit of distance. Like there hasn't been any more than say 500, 600 of a second, or even 700 of a second between us. So,
yeah,
we're all going flat out as much as possible.
Yeah, and I think that was the idea with the balance of performance. We've tried to make sure the car balance was actually pretty decent, and in that way, there's no like dominant car. But we knew at the start of the testing, we always knew that the Nissan would be the most dominant car out of the 3 for sure. So we had to try and work our way around trying to get the other cars to catch up. And I think so far it looks like we've done pretty well. Overall, I think we've done a pretty solid job there. Maybe there could be some more coming into next year in 2022, but I feel like the balance of performance between all cars is pretty close, you could say. I mean, when we did our testing at Kyoto, it was really close, and we had some really awesome racing between myself, Disappointed, and It's Racing in the Nissan, Lexus, and the Honda. We just had some great fun, and these cars, like you said, they're so awesome to drive.
Well, when you look at QE today, 2/3, I mean, it's not like every race has been dominated by the Nissan where it's been 1, 2, 3.
Exactly, and then you had Dark 74. Yeah, and then you had Dark 74 take pole position. So the first pole position actually went to a Lexus driver. So ending the 14 straight pole positions for the Nissans, and Dark 74 comes in out of nowhere, a solid like 8/10s over the rest of the field there. So that was pretty amazing for Darks to take pole position, but unfortunately his race got really compromised in that first one. So very unlucky for him to lose out in that first race, but a good recovery drive in second place for Darks there. Absolutely. So awesome to see the cars going really strong. Looks like everyone's having a great time. Obviously you get your post-race stewarding stuff going on here and there, but I feel in a way everyone's enjoying themselves and everyone's liking the challenge of these cars, of these beasts. And yeah, I think in a way, I think compared to these cars, I think between all the series, I think I prefer the TS3 specs over the main series specs, to be honest.
No, it's funny you should say that, because everyone that I've spoken to in TS3, or those that I have spoken to, have all said that they're really enjoying the racing because it is close. You know, it's focused racing, so it's great. It's it's
Exactly right. So thank you. Well, as we wrap up our TS3 touring cars championship for round 8, we've got 2 more rounds to go, ladies and gentlemen. We have another round at Red Bull Ring over the next couple of weeks, and then we have the final round at Sankra B coming into November of the Trackstars, coming towards the conclusion of the Trackstars TS3 Touring Car Championship. We'd like to thank Warpath 360 for joining us, a championship leader. So luckily you said this is a good drop round for you, but hopefully the next tracks coming up will suit you much better.
Oh, I hope so as well. So we'll see. There's a lot of quick drivers up the front at the moment, so we'll just see how we go. Have a bit of fun.
Exactly right. Well, thanks for dropping in. Thanks for dropping in,
fun.
mate, and thanks for giving your insights of being up the front at in TS3. And it's good. It's great just to have the championship leader join us in the com box on his spare time. Of course, I mean he didn't have to jump in after race 2. He could have done race 2, but he thought, nah, I'll use it as a drop round. It'll be fine. But thank you so much for jumping in the commentary box, and good luck for the rest of the season. Hopefully, we'll see you at the end of the final race as champion.
I hope so. There's a bit of racing to do. But, yeah, look, thanks very much for having us, and cheers, everyone.
Thank you so much. And as we wrap up the Trackstars TS3, thank you so much for tuning in. Big congrats to Shifty taking his first victory on his debut race here at Trackstars TS3, and Vossi taking out the second race after an unfortunate mistake there for Shifty in the dying laps there of the race 2 at Brands Hatch. But thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Stay tuned. Over the next hour, we will have our TS2 coverage coming in very shortly. But on behalf of myself and It's Racing, covering all the action with all the live feed and cameras and stream, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys very soon.